Hello beauty squad, it's your girl TeeTee. Welcome back to my channel of all things life, love, and beauty. And I think we all know what day it is. It's Monday, but it's not just any Monday. It's Martini Monday. My favorite, absolute favorite day of the week. Not just because I get to talk about a topic that I know that we all like, but because I get to have a martini with you guys. And I hope you guys are having a martini with me as well as we talk and converse and talk about relationships, love, and all that good stuff like that. Today's topic, though, and this is a topic that my girlfriends and I, my husband and I talk about a lot. It's interracial dating and what it means in today's world or culture or society, and how it impacts Black women in particular. And we're going to get into it because sometimes it makes me mad. And sometimes I'm like, okay, whatever. But we're going to talk about that today, the dynamics of it, and how it is perceived in today's current climate as it relates to race and dating. But before we get into that, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You're already here. Don't forget to hit the little button so you know when it's Martini Monday, which is every Monday. And we talk about all things love and life. And don't forget to tell your friends, invite your girlfriends, comment below. Let's continue the conversation. So let's get into interracial dating in current times on Martini Monday. Stay tuned. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk interracial dating. And I have my notes here, because I'm just a notorious note taker. I like to put my thoughts down on paper. The case of interracial dating, there are still huge stereotypes, misconceptions, and presumptions about what it means to date someone of a different race. And this still applies today. As a Black woman, today or at any time, dating someone that is non-Black, you're more aware of the way in which these stereotypes still dictate the way we think and talk about interracial dating. And I say that because we as Black women, when we date outside of our race, boy, are we criticized for it and scrutinized for it. We're called sellouts for it. One of my favorite interracial dating movies is Something New with Sanaa Lathan and Simon Baker. It came out some years ago, and it's about interracial dating. And I highly recommend watching that movie. It's just a very cute movie. But, we as women, Black women, we are criticized for that. And why? It's a total double standard, and it's not fair, because, and I'm going to say the truth, Black men go out of their way to not date a Black woman for a variety of different reasons. And reasons, I'm going to say excuses more so. It's definitely more so excuses. Black men want to say, Black women there's attitude, and there's this, and the weaves, and this, and that, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, but what about your mother, your aunts, your sisters, your cousins that are female, your niece? What about them? They're Black women too, and do they fall into that category as well too? Help me out with that. And let's just be honest. We women, we're programmed pretty much the same to a certain degree as it relates to love and relationships. And when your ass does something to hurt us, we all react the same. Whether it's busting out your windows, slashing your tires, whatever the case is, in the manner in which we do things, that that doesn't change. And I bring this up because I think it was Chris Brown who recently made a comment or said that he only liked light-skinned women or black women with good hair. What the hell does that mean? We're going to go back to Beyonce, because what did she say when her husband was cheating on her? You better call Becky with the good hair. Like, what is that? And when Chris Brown said it, it's like, what? He only wanted is interested in a certain type of girl, in his videos and who he dates. And you look at his dating history, and he sticks to the same pattern, right, of women, except maybe Rihanna she was black, but Karrueche and a couple of the baby mamas were all super bright with all this really nice, hair and all of that. And black men seem to think it's okay for them to push us aside. I've been damn near knocked down in clubs of men trying to get to some other race other than us. It's definitely happened, and it's sad to say, but then you got, black men, especially famous black men, athletes, and they are common. It's definitely common with them that, they date outside of their race. And then they get with women who want to talk shit too about black women. It's like, and you're okay with that? You should not be okay with that, because that put on too much blush on that side. That part really burns me up, because, black men will think that, they make it in whatever music, whatever, that they don't want to take a black woman with them, even though we've probably stuck by them through all their bullshit, and now you get a little change in your pocket, and now you think you're too good. And there's just things to consider when you're dating. And here's a couple of bullet points that I have taken into account, because I've definitely dated outside of my race, and Hispanic, white, with no problem, right? The relationships didn't go real far, but I've definitely been out on dates with men that were not black, and the funny looks that I got, especially from black men, didn't bother me one bit, because it's like, I can do it too. And it's not a competition by any means, but it's like, sometimes black men don't even always look our way. And why should we stay committed and have this sense of loyalty when they are not? That's a whole other conversation. But when I have dated outside of my race, and this is how I've looked at it specifically, is interracial dating doesn't mean that we've solved any issues of racism whatsoever. And that goes to when black men date women that are not black, and they want to talk shit about black women. What about your mom, your aunts, everyone else that I just mentioned? That shit ain't right. And what you also need to consider is the foundation of the relationship has to be rock solid. Meaning you have to be okay with the pressure, the naysayers, the outside opinions, the crazy ass looks you're going to get, because that comes with it. And as I said, I would go out, that wouldn't bother me one bit. I was totally okay with it, because you've got to be comfortable not only with yourself, you're dating. And I can't begin to tell you the crazy looks I would get. I'm going, for real? You don't have to do way better than that to make me feel uncomfortable. And other things to consider when you're dating outside of your race is get comfortable talking about race. And that can be a really broad spectrum, in a sense that, Black people are raised different from everybody else. Our way of life and survival and making do with little or nothing is unlike any other culture or race. And that is so true even as you date outside of your race. Because we as Black people, we just do things differently. And you look at when you're dating someone who's not Black, what is your take on schools, friends, diversity? I have a rainbow of friends, and I said I've been out on dates outside of my race to the point where my family was like, what is he? Is he Black, white? What is he? Because it doesn't really matter, right? They just knew that, when you're dating, you're going to date all types of people. And if you're dating someone outside of their race, their friend pool should be diverse, in my opinion, as well too. If all your friends are just your own culture, it's you're dating outside of your race, you have to wonder why. Which is why I say I have a rainbow of friends. So me dating outside of my race was definitely nothing out of the ordinary or uncommon for me. Another thing you want to consider is don't make assumptions about your partner based on their race. That means that you and your partner, you don't have to agree. You're not going to agree on a lot of things, but you don't have to agree, but you should still know where each other stand as it relates to race, and try to understand each other's perspective on race, because we live in a world or a culture today where race it still is prevalent in today's culture or society, and racism it still exists. And let's not forget, there was a time where it was illegal to marry someone outside of your race. Let's not forget that part either. So I definitely think you need to have those open conversations and be upfront and honest about what your expectations are going to be, as with any relationship, right? Setting the expectation. But as it relates to race, you be aware of what you're going to face. The stares, the looks, the snide remarks, the comments, all of that is going to happen, and you need to be prepared on both ends. And that's why I say mainly is you can't be afraid to talk about race, because I think it's important, and you're bringing cultures together that may not have had a great history of always meshing well, but you can certainly make your relationship work when you come in and set an expectation and put race on the table and talk about it. Does it have to be the basis of your relationship? Absolutely not. But you should definitely talk about it, and it will probably be an ongoing conversation, especially when you start having children and they get all that they get as kids, the teasing and all that, and who they struggle to identify with. A lot of famous people have said they struggle with, Black or white, and identifying with, which side. And some can identify with both, and some gravitate to one more than the other for a variety of different reasons. But you definitely shouldn't be afraid of the conversation. And another bit of information is, you're going to learn things about your partner's family, and maybe even about your own in the process. And I say that because my family or their family, we're okay if you date this person or that person. Oh, it's all good until you bring them home. Until you bring them home, it becomes a different conversation, because guess what? Now it's real, it's in your face, and it's in person, and you cannot avoid it. You're going to find out who in your family is not okay with that, or who in their family is not okay with that. And you know how they're going to tell you or show you that they're uncomfortable with it? They're not going to come around you. They're not going to go to your wedding. They're not going to come to your birthday party. And that's what I mean, that underlining racism or issues that you face when you date someone outside of your race, because everyone is okay with it until it's in your face. And that's the truth. The shock and the awe is one thing, but when it's front and center and you can't avoid it, that's when sometimes all hell breaks loose. And we are all taught to be equal until someone else you bring home doesn't look like you. And then all bets are off at that point. And you need to be ready for that. It's hurtful. Yes, it is. But you got to be okay with that part of it too, because it's not uncomfortable. And again, it then becomes real. It's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to see it and be okay with it. And is it the new norm? Does it bother me when I see a commercial with a black man and it's never a black family? It's like, okay, now advertisers know that and they're okay with that as well too. Where does the black woman fall in all of this? Don't know. We are almost non-existent. And I applaud, any black man who's in any level of high-ranking position when he decides to marry a black woman because he loves her and they've been together through thick and thin. I'm okay with that. And I'm not saying you can't follow your heart. And we all fall in love with different people for different reasons. It bothers me when you go out of your way to avoid specific people or a specific race. That is the shit that gets under my skin. Is okay, I'm going to just move all these away and I'm going to focus on this right here. That's what bothers me. Or only like a certain type of girl, black girl, and she's got to have curly hair or wavy hair, no weaves, this, that. Everybody wears a weave, honey. Everybody does. Whether they got long flowing hair or not, good hair, bad hair, whatever you want to call it. Every woman at some point has put a weave in her hair, a piece in her hair, or something. So don't stop making excuses. Let me finish up my face and we're going to wrap this up. Man, this got my blood boiling today. I'll be right back. Okay, Beauty Squad. As I think on my closing remarks, here is my conclusion, and I cannot wait to hear what any of you have to say, and I will definitely list the makeup details below. I picked up an eyeshadow palette, my Pat McGrath. This is the Mothership 5 palette. I like this palette. The matte in here was a struggle to work with though, but I like the palette. I like the way things came out anyway. But feel free, compelled, whatever you want to do to date whom you want, whatever your heart desires. And I am just here, I'm just giving my opinion, my experience, what I see, what I think, giving it to you as real and raw as I can give it to you. And what I will say is, when you marry someone, you marry everything that made them who they are, including their culture and their race, okay? While marrying someone of a different race can certainly have added challenges, and I think that goes without saying. But if you go in with your eyes and your heart wide open, good intentions, you can face those challenges together and come out stronger on the other end. And to me, that is the message here. And it goes back to what I said, is communicating, setting the expectation, what's real, what's not, what are we going to face, and you face it together. As I've said, before I got married 3 years ago, I dated, and it wasn't often. I just went out on a date, just sometimes it, gave me something to do, or someone I was interested in and felt he deserved my time, then I would go out with him. I've gone out on dates outside of my race. The relationships probably didn't go past a couple of dates. And I'm just like, and it had nothing to do with race. It was something they said or something that they didn't do. You say you're going to do something, do it. That's a whole nother issue. But I have no problem dating outside of my race, and do what your heart and your mind tell you what's right. Go with that. I can't wait to hear your comments. Let me know what you think, your thoughts on interracial dating, your comments below, and I will respond to them accordingly. And next week's Martini Monday is going to be another good one. What women expect from men and relationships. That is always a great topic, because I think we women go into relationships for totally different reasons. We do. Let's just be honest, we do. So that's what we're going to talk about next week, what women expect and want out of relationships. So until next time, until we meet again on our next Martini Monday, your girl TeeTee is out.